Hello everybody. We are back on Lone Oak Farms, Farming Simulator 17. Wonderful map created by Bullet Bill of an area that I grew up on. I say grew up on. I worked on in my growing up years to help fund my college education at university. Really a wonderful map. I've spent a lot of time on it over the years, and this is a series where I'm sharing it on YouTube and hope some of the family memories and things I'm sharing are of interest to folks. And kind of like we mentioned in the last episode, it wasn't very often that Lone Oak had a crop of wheat or oats or some other grain, but occasionally they did. And well, this is one of those years in game that we are pretending to have wheat. There's no way that combine would unload so quickly. But it did. So he's on his second round. We have our tractor going. It looks like there's a young lady in there driving to take it off field. I think horseplay is behaving itself for the moment. Although we're always going to have some difficulty with that, with the tree line that comes out over here. So we'll just have to keep an eye on that. But at least now we know that horseplay sees the combine and is going to handle offloading. There's quite a bit here, so kind of like I mentioned last time, I may need to do some of this off camera. We'll see. Less people get overly bored. This is all the farming we have at the moment. And I can't remember if I mentioned it in here. I don't get bored very easily when it comes to farming. I really enjoy this. I enjoy pretty much everything that we can do in game here. I love just seeing the scenery of a place that practically feels like home to me because I spend so much time there working and with family. So, but whether it's this map or another, what can I say? I enjoy agriculture, but that's just me. You know, maybe others would prefer not to see all of this ad nauseum. But it is what it is. Get used to it. So, I maybe need to stay on the combine here, and I want to go show maybe a couple pictures. But you know what? Maybe I just need to stay put on the combine, because if I don't, he's going to go around that old corner over there, and I'm going to miss it, and we'll miss the opportunity to kind of do a separate cut on the field just to put it in two different lands. I'll see kind of how that works. Because I have a feeling, is he at 56%? Yeah, he's over 50%, so I anticipate we'll have a tractor. There he is. Jeep. And I'll be curious if the tractor from this angle probably can make it up there if it's ready to offload again. And I don't know that it will be. Maybe it'll take one more load in there. The sky that you see right now, I'm pretty sure I've explained this before too. One of the mods I'm using is Sky Swap. I spent a lot of time working on that mod. I even took it, I have another series on Farm Sim 15 at the moment. I enjoyed it so much. Yeah, I don't know why this does this. Why does he wait for that tractor? It's out of the way. Surely the combine can move. But he doesn't. But I could sure help him move. It's this mod interaction in here sometimes that I don't understand how it works. Why, when one moves, the other one stays put. But it is what it is. Anyway, this Sky Swap mod, I enjoyed it so much, I took it backward to Farm Sim 15. The programming was fortunately similar enough, kind of in the older version. Ah, listen to those birds. Thank you again, Kim G. I know I keep saying that, but you can just tell those are not the bird sounds that came with the game. And Man alive, I really appreciate the work he went to put all those bird sounds on the map of native birds to the state of Oregon. Just a cool addition to the map. I think of him every time I hear those birds chirping. But anyway, I took the Sky mod, swap mod 15. It seems to be working over there, just to have some variety in the skies. Now, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to notice that this particular sky isn't near the quality of the one that Bullet Bill put into the map. You know, you beggars can't be choosers. You look on the internet, you find the best ones you can, but sometimes the only ones you can find are lesser quality, and two, the more quality a mod or a texture has, like these sky textures, the more space that it takes it up. Okay, now what are you doing, Combine? Seriously, what are you doing? I haven't a clue why it's doing this. It takes a little bit more nip at the field. Hope that doesn't beat all. Huh. Like I say, sometimes mods behave in mysterious ways. There was one right there. I don't know why I didn't just keep going forward. But you know, in real life, in a field, occasionally you will see piles of straw somewhere, and you wonder what obstacle or what thing did the combine operator have to deal with. And it might have been as simple as someone coming to the field who wanted a ride, so they stopped the machine to let them come up, and meanwhile, you know, if they were running, whatever was in the back kept piling out and made a little pile. Or there might have been a wad they were taking in. Who knows? It could be any number of things that may cause that. So maybe that isn't that far of a stretch from realism. Now, I'm thinking a tractor should be coming shortly. There it is. Good job, horseplay. It negotiated that bulge in the field at least. And you know, I haven't really tried this before. Cutting a separate land, so I'm kind of interested to see how this will work. And maybe for some of you this is all old hat, and you would just naturally do that, or you know, how would you cut a field shaped like this? You know, it makes me think, because I think this fall here, when we get done with the wheat harvest, I may well, I know I'll have to rip this field out, and I probably will just plant grass in here, because that's what it typically has on it in real life. Maybe one of the other fields I'll rip it out and I can put something else on it. Does that seem unimaginative? You know, in some ways, I don't know why I would bother trying to do something close to real life, you know, when, you know, they don't have a combine like this in real life. Let me get to the apex of this curve here, and I'm gonna then take our little combine uphill. Let me see, right about there? Maybe even that's a little too far over. I don't know. Well, you know what? I'll just make a square corner out of it. Try to get up here so I can see. And I don't think I can hire it going uphill, so I'm gonna have to just, you know, yeah, you can't really see up the hill because it's so steep. Is my header down? Yeah, it's down. So let me just start cutting straight uphill. It's pretty much too steep to do this in real life, but we can get away with it in game here. Cut uphill like so, and I think I'll maybe try to do this far east part of the field first, and we'll see if Auto Combine is able to do this. I may need to make a couple cuts here to really make this work. Sometimes I think Auto combine looks ahead, and like, let me just get this going. I'll just hire it here and head downhill. So in other words, if the combine's coming across here, maybe it'll see this grain over here and it'll want to keep going forward. So maybe for good measure, I should make one more cut up the hill, just to be safe. Right now, let me check. Okay, here comes our guy, gal, whoever's hauling away the grain. I'm going to cut uphill. We'll turn right around here to make this a land. Like I say, the things we need to do to pacify or help horseplay while dealing with this bulge in the middle of... Oops! How did I turn off my combine? Shame on me. Alright, we'll try to take another strip and then I'll hire it after this. So I take 3 of them. I'm reasonably certain that should be enough and that he won't try to see across there. And already he's probably, what am I at? 50... Oh, it just faded. I tell you what, don't get old, guys. Your eyes start to fade, and I need... Oh yeah, 64%. I'm somewhat surprised it isn't over here trying to offload me. Maybe he's waiting for it to be hired. We'll see here in a moment. Alright, now we have 2 separate lands in the field, if you will. Let's hire him kind of like before, and I'm going to let him have at it. Off he goes. Oh, now I know why horseplay was politely waiting. I have Pathfinder on. He was waiting because my unloading auger was facing... But some of this is two-faced horseplay, because I see your guy just wandering across the field willy-nilly. Anyway, we'll see if this works. I think the combine will hopefully work. I'm going to go over to the tractor here and try to stay on him. He's going to come into the wheat. He should hopefully be able to... Now look at you. See, you just wander right into the wheat, but you were oh so careful that you didn't unload the combine and drive through the wheat. I'm telling you, there has to be some kind of a setting in here that I'm missing, because I thought for sure there was a way to force him to stay on the field. I'm just not seeing the setting, and maybe it was added in the Farm Sim 19 version. Just don't know, don't remember. Yeah, it is what it is. This is the most important one I wanted. That one is critical. So we'll maybe change the angle here while he's heading down over the hill. And hopefully, like I say, this is small enough land that Horseplay will be able to find his man. Let me return to some of the wheat harvest pictures I was going through before, just for kicks. You know, it already booted me off. I think I made it to this picture here. We were looking up at the lone oak. This is from the mailbox. You see the house. Actually, the house isn't green at the moment. I wonder if that was painted again over the years. I think it's a green color now. Close up of the good old 6600. You know, the machine may be old, but it still threshes grain good. And I know I had another episode talking about conventional threshing versus rotary combine threshing. These, of course, these older machines, the Sidehill 6600, the 6602, Hillside that we saw earlier, and of course the 8820, these were all conventional threshing machines with straw walkers. The cylinder and concaves in here, that's how it threshed everything. Sieves down here. not rotary machines at all. Now they don't have any conventional threshing machines anymore. This is just a picture of the grass. Hey, folks, I'm not a photographer. This is a horrible photographer. Oh, I know where this is. This is on the far western side of the map. There's a road that heads due west, and this is a road that headed down to the canyon. Now I remember from that day. I think what I did is I took a couple pictures in the field of wheat harvest, and then I think one of my uncles there, because I was convenient, said, "Will you help me shuttle the 8820 combine down into the canyon? It's cleaned up. We're gonna put it away." I think at this point their regular grass harvest was over. So I said, "Sure enough, I'll take you down there, to bring you back home." So I'm probably driving a pickup while he's driving the combine down to take it into storage. So I took this picture along the way. This picture was taken south. This is kind of something that isn't correct in the map. You remember the field? Let me just hop back in game real quick to show where this is. Actually provide opportunity to check on the combine. Looks like they're doing great. This road that I'm talking about is way over here, so we would be taking the 8820 down on a road here, and then we would turn due south, and the canyon entrance is right along here. I would have taken the picture somewhere in here. This field over here is kind of, has a dog head shape, if you will. And really, there's a fairly steep ravine in here. There's a river. I say river. It's a creek, small stream that runs kind of in a gully here. The DEM map that Bullet Bill used to create the Lone Oak map uh, must not have had enough data points to show that, in terms of what he downloaded. So it doesn't show on the map. It's fairly flat over here, but in real life, it is very steep in here, and that's kind of what I was showing in this picture here. If I can get back out. Oops. Oh, look at that. It dumped my... I gotta go find it here. Nope, it wasn't that. These pictures are all discombobulated. So this is the ravine. This is kind of the head of that dog-headed field shape. Looks like they have a baby crop in it this year. This one is a neighbor's field. It's all combined, ready to be burned. It appears. So we're headed down there. This is back on the wheat harvest. Picture of it unloading. Combine pass, just a picture of good old Lone Oak, kind of looking up at it. Actually, you know what? The wheat came clear out to the road. The grass part, I assumed this was all grass. You know what? I'm all wet. I think I said that in the previous video, that what we had was just like it was in real life at that time, with a wheat patch over here and then grass over here. I see now that I'm mistaken. Obviously don't know what I'm talking about. So the grass must have been, this must have been a partial field of wheat perhaps, or it was grass on the far side of the lone oak tree maybe it was where the combine was parked, the 8820. Whatever it was, they obviously had some wheat in there. This now is a picture heading down into what they called their canyon. I think the destination of the combine, there's a stream here that he's going to go over. The Pudding River that runs down through here at the low point, and the destination for the combine is this shed here. They still have the shed today. I don't know what all they store in it. I don't think they store the combines down here any longer, but at time, I think this is where they stored them to overwinter them. And you see here there is a small bridge, and I believe back when I worked on the farm, they didn't have that bridge. Every time we drove down there, I don't care what you were driving, you had to, if you wanted to get to the other side, there was kind of a crossing area where they had, thrown some rock into the river where they could pass through it. But now, I mean, if you're coming down and just a pickup or well, you wouldn't want to take a car down there. It gets pretty rugged down here, so pickup, I think, was a bare minimum. You could take a pickup over here without going through the water. In the winter, see, they still have to come up over here. You can barely see it through here. This is where they kept a lot of their cattle. And so, they'd obviously have to feed them during the winter. And in the winter months, we get a lot of rainfall. And it wasn't uncommon, especially if there was heavy rainfall, it was impassable. There were times that this could be impassable with a vehicle, just be too deep. So I think my uncles at some point put in this bridge. They must have got a permit to put in the bridge so they could drive over. And even this bridge, I wonder if it's high enough to catch the high water moments. Like I say, it could get pretty deep in here, so I imagine it'd be tickling the underside of the bridge when some of those times came. I don't know that we took the windrowers over here. I think at this time the windrowers maybe were stored down here too. There's another shed on the hill. I remember helping in the construction of it when I worked at Lone Oak, that stored the windrowers in there, typically 3 of them. Some of the haying equipment was stored in there also, but I think this was for the combines, and maybe the tractor trailer unit, the chaser bin, if you will, was maybe stored in here as well. Maybe various things over time, just a building to store stuff in. So like I say, I was helping shuttle it down in the canyon. He had to go across the river with it, wet the tires one more time before he put it away, and there she would sit until the following year. I think in another set of videos, maybe when I talk about some of the logging that took place on Lone Oak, we'll maybe come back to the canyon and talk more about it. But anyway, like I say, all these pictures, my goodness, I have them all out of order. There he is heading down. This would be the far west side of the map, um, where the road goes. I don't think Bullet Bill, he didn't build in the road. The road pretty much terminates here, but in real life, the road continues. And there, I think even through the trees, you can kind of see the tin work on that shed that we just saw a picture of. That's kind of where he's headed down to, heading down the hill. And this is a Lone Oak field over here also, um, called the Brown Place. It's about 66 acres, I think. There's another field you can kind of see through the trees over here. It's a 20-acre parcel down here that they have grass seed in. Obviously, neither. Well, this one shows kind of on the Lone Oak map, but this one does not, of course. Well, maybe it does indirectly. It's there, but you never would see it. This one here is there, but you don't hardly recognize it as a field because, like I say, it's just off the edge of the map. And so, I mean, this up here is pasture land. Actually, what you're looking at here is a whole bunch of briars. You know, I was just out there not that long ago, and maybe, like I say, at some point I could show those pictures of walking around in these fields. It's really a beautiful area, and this, 20 years ago, you wouldn't believe how much this has grown up now with trees. Somewhere back in the day here, it was logged, so there's only tiny trees kind of up in this area way over here. That isn't Lone Oak property. It was one of their neighbors. But this all in here is Lone Oak property. There's yet another field that belongs to Lone Oak, kind of on the far side over here. It's an 80-acre parcel, I believe, where they grow some seed. Um, so yeah, definitely familiar landscape, and a lot more could be on the map that's Lone Oak related, but just didn't quite fit on there. So we'll have to be happy with what was put in there. Back out in the wheat field here, just looking at the combine at another angle. Oh, and speaking of the combine, let me go and make sure they are behaving and playing well together. All right, our tractor's sitting here. Look at that. Look at that. That's exactly what I feared would happen. Oh, dog my cats. Our combine was supposed to stay over here. Alright, note to self, even 4 passes won't prevent your combine from hopping over to a different land. Now, it looks like it did a really weird thing. I don't know why it kind of steered so funny. Seems like it should have taken just a straight path through there. Oh, the way these mods function, I don't totally understand. But maybe while it's offloading, it should behave itself for a little bit here. I'll just hop back to the pictures that I had, see if it'll load it up here without too much fuss. Yeah, we can get through the rest of these. Oh, here I was literally standing on the combine. I'm a horrible photographer, guys. This is what it's like, standing on the combine while he's running it. Probably not very safe, but at least there was a handlebar to hold on to, and hopefully it wasn't too rusted that that it would snap off. Back in the day, I personally ran this combine some of the time when we were harvesting grass on here, and sometimes you can get a little creative. I'm not going to say this is a right thing to do, but in the lone oak field itself, I had to go really, really bad, take a leak, and I did it. I kept the combine running, kept it on the windrow. I stepped out of the cab on this little, I shouldn't even admit this. My uncles ever hear this, they'll wonder, they'll know why they wanted to fire me from time to time. And I took a leak off the combine itself and didn't miss a beat. So, hey, what can I say, uncles? If you're listening to this, I at least tried to keep up productivity so the machine didn't have to stop. Back then, I think I remember it was this tall fescue that we had in there, and I was doing the top section right up alongside lone oak, kind of like we're harvesting just now. This is just a shot down over the field. This is a batch of trees coming up that we're trying to negotiate and keep course play out of. Again, a horrible photograph. You can't even see. Yeah, bad photograph taken from a hill. Just amateur work, but it is what it is. That one's a little bit nicer. Kind of just looking down over the field of wheat. Reminds me of a song that our country has of amber waves of grain, America the Beautiful. Well, this is probably where some of that came from, and that applies to any country that has wheat grown in it, amber waves of grain. It's pretty cool to see, especially when the wind blows a little bit and it ripples along. I love seeing that. More on the combine. I think he was farming, he was cutting some strips up here. Not sure what all he's doing. I think they were trying to set the machine and get it all ready. I think this is one of my uncles standing out here. He maybe has a shovel in hand. Seems like anytime they set the combine, they're always putting a shovel in there to grab something off the sieves, make sure it's doing a good job cleaning it up, so forth and so on. Picture taken down at the farm. I don't think this chemical shack is there anymore. Well, maybe it is. I shouldn't say that, but yeah. I don't know if these tanks were moved over to the new. Uh, this is where they had. I mean, they're just filled with water to help fill their sprayers more quickly. I think those have been moved over to their new shop office. That we've seen at this time. They had it over there. You saw it in a picture earlier behind the 6602 combine. But at time, it wasn't their office. It wasn't a place they stored seed. It didn't have a concrete floor. It was only storage of hay, or excuse me, of straw, baled up from the fields. So they handled all their chemical stuff, I think, kind of right here. And incidentally, these tanks they previously were fuel tanks. They were buried in the ground, and then the law changed, and they could no longer keep them buried unless they had it in concrete bunkers and other protective measures. So they removed them to stay in compliance with the law, and they turned them into water tanks. Another shot of just unloading the harvest. Close up one, too close up. I'm in the combine's armpit. This almost looks like, is this an 8820? You know what? I think that is another combine. Okay, so they must have brought the other. Or is this from a. What in the world am I seeing? It's obviously a different combine. You know what? Maybe he wasn't taking the combine down to the canyon to store it for winter. Maybe what he was doing was going down there to get a different header on it so he could come up and help with the harvest. That could be what he was doing too. Who knows? I think there's just a couple pictures more here. There's a lone oak tree. I wasn't up there, kind of one end of day shot, if you will. Now looking down over the pond, and I think that's pretty well it. I'll just head back in game real quick. Let's see. All right, our combine is coming back to here. I'm gonna cut another. We may not be able to do this. I wonder how far ahead. Maybe there's something in here that says how far ahead it looks. Well, let's turn on the AI vehicle info. Active side left. Hmm. You know, I'm not seeing it here. We'll see some info here. Is there... That's the how to... That's headland off. That's the mode. Yeah, this work with... Alright. Oops, let me tab. Oh, still failed that. Driver. It's a tad too far away. I think that sometimes happens on these slopes with horseplay, so let me try this, get him a little bit closer. I probably shouldn't have done this on the setting. Knock it back again, make sure he can stay in there. Get back over to my combine. Yeah, see, it's showing how far out it looks. But it's still looking way over here. You know, I wonder if... Alright, course play. It'd be helpful if you move it out of the way, but I'll tell you what. I'm going to cut a strip right up here. Just kind of curve up the hill. There's got to be a point, I would think, when the auto combine would turn around or turn the corner versus look ahead for more harvestable area. And, you know, I really don't know how it stores this information inside of the mod. You know, I think we all have seen that when it takes on a new field, it calculates some things, you know, where it thinks a little bit, it tells you how many hectares the field are, kind of what it is in size, and maybe that's when it says, this is what the field shape is. Why don't I try something here? I'm going to give it back into, let's refresh the field, show AI info, is there a refresh? For some reason I thought there was a refresh. Now, did it do it? That I don't know. Let me click it again for good measure a couple times. Alright, so it's starting over. Let's put him on higher. Oh, no, he is really seeing the whole field, I'm afraid. So, now I have horseplay kind of getting itself in the way. So I'm going to get it out of the way. Probably the only way to keep this hired guy on the straight and narrow would be to have him farm back and forth, kind of right in this area. But that isn't what he would really do in real life. In real life, this would all be cut across the hill, so you could take advantage of the hillside capacity of the combine. You wouldn't do it up and down. And kind of in this area, it's too steep to do that anyways. Or it's steep enough, it's not advisable, lest you end up in the trees if your combine slips. But be that as it may, we are over our 30 minutes, and you know what, it's pretty late at night, so I probably need to get myself to bed. Thank you, everybody who stopped by to watch one more time on Lone Oak. I really enjoy making these episodes. Thank you for coming by to say hi, and if you have any questions, please leave it in the comments. Otherwise, I hope you have a wonderful day, and I will see you in the next one. Goodbye for now.